Paolo, welcome to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having you with me today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Max. My pleasure. The pleasure is mine.
Of course, mine as well. So let's talk about yourself, a little bit your background, what you've done so far.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Max. I have a background in marketing. I've been working as a marketing manager for the MOA and hospitality sector. And I recently quit my job, and I had this crazy idea of Shopbird, and I started working full time. Since it's been 5 months so far, uh, I will say great progress. I will talk about the progress later. But yeah, as I said, my background in marketing is basically made me understand how products are marketed around the world, and I feel like my passion in marketing was mainly in delivering the right messages. But recently, I felt marketing was just about selling rather than being the first man, the front man of the brand. So that's something this is a strategy you probably see in my presentation for the company. That's something that I really take care strictly, and yeah, that's something that you will definitely see in the brand messages in the future.
Thank you, Paolo. So let's start talking about the Shopbird. What is it about?
Yeah, sure. Shopbird basically is we're developing an app that connects customers to designers. So the idea of Shopbird is to cut the middleman and allowing the customer to enter in a chat with a designer, with a talented designer, and develop a piece of clothing. It can be a dress, a shirt, a skirt, whatever. It really depends on the designer skills, and it's basically an app, a platform that makes matching based of request and demand and request. So the idea here is that right now in the fashion industry, the current situation is really problematic. Everyone talk about the problem, no one really does anything. We have 75% of shoppers that don't find anything in the shops online, offline. Just in UK alone, 67% of people don't find sites above 14, which is crazy. Let's not talk about the waste just in UK and the animal cruelty and the uncertainty of the supply chain. We don't know where the clothes are from, and the average of returns are basically the third cause of air pollution in the world worldwide. So what we are doing is just to create a solution. And why, when I say crazy, because it's a crazy idea to achieve something like that, because you're not changing an industry, you're changing a system, how it works, a system. The idea of Shopbird is that it gives freedom of expression to customers. We don't have a final product, rather the customer talks with the designer and come up with a final product, designs the cloth with the designer. Made to measure, because the measurements are given directly to the customer, so at a tailor level. It's on demand, so the fabric, the garment is already made, the fabric is ordered when there is an order from the designer, and the alternative materials are the only one we use. So we don't really use fur, leather, we use vegan leather, we use alternative fabrics. We don't use cotton because cotton takes a lot of water. We use bamboo instead. Or linen, hemp are amazing alternative natural fabrics. We don't use semi-synthetics. And the other point is that you know where the clothes are from. For example, Fashion Revolution has launched an hashtag called Who Made My Clothes. We tell you who made your clothes. We put in contact in a chat with the person that makes your clothes. And we have a no return policy, because we heard for a lot of brands that this return free, but return is free for the customer, but at cost of what? At cost of the environment, because we know returns are endangering our environment as well. So we are in a stage of awareness right now, and that's what it brings to our values. Then the model we are creating is a different model, is an on-demand model, which already exists in print on demand. If you think about Printify, Printful from US, but no one really did something like this in the fashion industry, and I really understand why, because the business model right now are more for a scalable quantity of garments. So what Shopper is trying to bring as values is a quality that you can really deliver to individuals. Okay, everyone is different, everyone has different body shapes, so we can deliver the quality to individuals. The sustainability part, which is no returns, animal cruelty-free and sustainable materials, and flexibility, because being on demand allows you to really talk with the designer, come up with a conclusion of the best style you want. And obviously freedom of expression, which just in London, we are talking about a huge market. If we take in consideration LGBT community, lesbian, or anyone, generally, someone that has a different body shape, or disabled people, for example. So we are basically targeting the black sheep, which is just in London alone, a 200 million market. So who really needs us? Well, the customer. So the customer that has specific requirements, freedom of expression, wants clothes that fit perfectly the body. They want to know the origin, and they're really into sustainability, or they want to even upcycle clothes. For example, if you're moving from your flat and you have clothes that you want to bring with you, but at the same time you don't want to feel bad to throw away, you can just give it to us and we can upcycle for you. And after you move somewhere else, you have the new clothes. So we kind of give a new life to something else. Designers obviously struggle a lot. We've been talking and running polls, and designers struggle a lot with starting their business, doing what they love and living up to do what they love. So it's an easy way for them to earn extra income or do this full time in the future. It's our system, our business model is a matching system that gives pure meritocracy to designers. It's easy to start, and obviously in the future we'll have international reach. So let's talk about the fashion market size right now. We probably know that the majority of the market is occupied by fast fashion, which is 70%. Then the on-demand, the one we are targeting, the luxury fashion and the vintage fashion. There are other market shares and other slices we didn't incorporate here. But let's focus on the main one, and the mainstream is fast fashion, right? If it's crazy, Max, if we think that fast fashion acquires 70% of the market share, but it brings 12% of the annual income globally. So we, as I told you, we are targeting on demand. The on demand alone is a 11 billion market size. On demand is not sustainable for middle big suppliers because is a pain, and they're not structured for this kind of business model. And so it's a really unexplored market. And another point and our advantage is COVID-19 changed the way fashion designers work and give us more attraction towards them. So let's take in consideration now the 5% of the on-demand market size, and we see that worldwide we're talking about $225 billion, UK alone 660, and just in London, where we are focusing our pilot test, we're talking about 165 million, which is basically the entire fashion market size, but we're just considering 75%. And why we're considering 75%? Because 75%, unfortunately, of people that shop, they don't find what they're looking for. So where they shop, they're willing to spend money, but where they shop, right? So we saw that this people need an alternative. What we are trying to bring out there is an alternative. We've been running for 3 months an awareness pilot test. We've been targeting men and women aged between 25 to 65 in UK, London alone, with particular interests, someone that has the need to express themselves, mainly LGBT community, lesbian, people that love luxury shopping, but not just restricted to that. People that are into sustainability, recycling, and homemade and tailoring crafted clothes. Right now, we have more than 8,000 subscribers, which is crazy if you think we don't have a final product. So they're in love with the idea, and there's people like literally knocking, asking us for the final product, which is in development. 30 users, and we already have paying members, and one member, even though we had the option of free membership, it just paid. Like, okay, guys, I'm paid. Okay, that's fine. So we see there's a lot of attraction out there. and something new. So designers wise, we contacted roughly 500 designers. We already on board 5, and we had some orders as well. This with a total spend of 1,000 pounds. I just go really fast here. We are planning to raise a seed fund because I've been self-funding myself, and the next month I'm going to close at 20,000 pounds, and we are going through raising other funds, and we've done a calculation overall 216,000 pounds between HR, marketing, tech, general expenses. These calculations are an estimate from the expenses during the 3 months pilot test. So basically, the investment timeline will be try to close this the seed fund from around the second quarter 2022. Basically 4 months after we have the final product, which should be on beginning of January, and likely scaling up. Monetization, which is something that we left at the end, will be a monthly subscription, but during the the beta test, which will be 6 months after the launch, which will be when we have the final product by the beginning of January 2022, will be £10 a month for customers and £20 a month for designers. Sorry, I skipped this one. So we done some projection about customer and designers user growth in general, and we established that for for 100 customers, we roughly need 20 designers. We have 20% of balance, and this calculation is due to that designers roughly can have 3 max orders a month, and the average time is between 2 and 4 days to craft the clothes. And obviously, this is the business model is in slow fashion, but we are going a step farther, and we talk about this later, than slow fashion. Converting in revenue, we are with the funding. All this projection is whether we close the funding on time. We're planning to close the quarter 4 by 2023 with roughly almost 3 million pounds. So these are just a quick snapshot of our app, which is always constantly changing. So this is probably the most updated version, just an idea to show how the workflow will work. You see, you will have different journey for customer suppliers, and the 2 accounts will be interacting with each other. We will have a section for the materials, the chat, and the rating, and a designer will be able to earn, and customer will be able to order directly. This is the team, which is completely changing every day. And yeah, that's just in a nutshell what we are doing, what's our future plan, and we can discuss about this. If you guys want to contact me for any information, or if you want this pitch deck sent to you, these are my contact details. Thanks, Max, for your time.
Thanks to you, Paolo. Very interesting. I mean, on-demand fashion is absolutely skyrocketing, and I do believe many people, they don't know what to buy. Even I want to buy, I don't know where to go, and if I go, I don't know what to do because there is nothing who actually I like. So I understand. And anyway, we live in a new era where everything is to be customized, right?
Absolutely, Max. Yeah, if you think that when you go to a restaurant, everything is on demand. Or when you have a menu, you don't have in front of you already made dishes, right? You don't pick between already made dishes. You order, right? And that's what we're doing. There's nothing like that in the fashion industry. Why we don't have the opportunity to do something like that? But that's something that is kind of already there with slow fashion. We're taking a step farther. We are doing like you go to a restaurant and you talk directly with the chef. There's no menu. There's no waiter. You talk with the chef. You tell, I want my pasta alla carbonara, my favorite dish, right? And the chef made it. So that's the kind of model we want to do. And sometimes to achieve this idyllic, sustainable fashion that everyone is talking about, but no one is doing it, it's just being clear with the customer. Show where the product comes from. Show which material they can use.
Let me ask you, inside the platform, okay? If I'm a customer coming on the platform and I want this kind of the clothes, right? How the platform is going to help me is going to tell me actually for this kind of design, this is the best guy. And how can I talk to him and how can I actually draft what I really want to him? How can the communication, how does it work, the communication on the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great question. That the communication is the main point. So the idea is that the customer creates an account, enters, and in 2 steps enters in a chat with the designer. The 2 steps consist into selecting a type of cloth, whether you want a shirt, a jacket, skirt, shoes in the future. And what happens when you select your type of cloth, you'll be redirected to another page, which is basically a material page. This material page consists of all the materials designers can make this cloth. So you will have Franco, James, Susan, they can make a t-shirt, but with different materials, right? So based on your selection of your material, you will be matched with the right designers. So you see here that it's a really democratic system because you don't see the designers, you don't pick the designers the most ratings or the best designers, but you pick the material. We focus on material and we focus on what customer wants, and then we match them with a designer. What happens in the chat, which is the main part, is that the designer will have all the information. Max wants a t-shirt made in a bamboo fiber. She will have your measurements, whether you already put in your account or you put your measurements directly in the chat. Obviously, all measurements will have a small tutorial and a small guide to take perfect measurements. And you will discuss with the designer the style of the t-shirt, right? So you will ask, I would love to have turtleneck t-shirt or v-neck t-shirt or asymmetric sleeves, velvet like t-shirt. And the idea is the designer is the talent of designer is understanding your needs and put them in a design and show you alternatives, right? The idea is all the orders are made in the chat, and we are doing all the transactions. So we will, whether there is a complaint or not, will be the middleman that understand disputes and whether the design is right or the customer is wrong, and we try to liaise with both of them and make the experience smoother.
I mean, you had no return policy, but for example, I had my shirts done in Italy. I had to fly there because I need to try. And this suit as well, they do in Italy. They made them.
Yeah.
Fly. How do you handle this? If they deliver let's say, the t-shirt and actually does fit well, what's going to happen?
If it doesn't fit, well, the solution is that we offer upcycle services. So you correctly say we don't have return policy, but we definitely refund people if that's something that didn't ask, if obviously is legit their complaint. But at the same time, we want to encourage people to consider the life cycle of the garment, right? So we offer, and the designer will offer, an upcycling service where you send the clothes to the nearest designer. Okay, so we minimize even the transportation, and the designer will upcycle your garment in something new. So the idea here is that whether you love it or you don't love it, you still minimize the impact of that.
I mean, you manage almost everything from the design to the customer. What about the supply chain? Because they decide, if I want bamboo, I want to be sure that is bamboo, and who is going to manage the supply of the materials?
So that's an amazing idea, because there's a question, Max, because that's the main point of all the business. The supply chain is not a regular supply chain a brand has, that we don't have a fabric. If you just, and why we don't have a fabric, we don't have a supplier. If you consider what happened in Bangladesh, 1,300 people died in a disaster, right? We're talking about, what if Shopper was available the time? What if the people that make the clothes could make the clothes on demand from their home safely, right? Earning more, managing their own time, right? And having their own customers, right? So the point here, the supply chain will be managed by individual designers that already have the materials, or they go to the closest shop. They go to the closest shop to get the material, to the loyal shop to get the material. They have their own niche. They don't need to deliver anything from anywhere. For example, our designers and one team right now is in London looking for material to create our merchandise and our cork wallet, because we are going to make some cork wallets, some hemp bags to give to let us do some marketing as well. So you see, is not a macro supply chain, is a micro supply chain, and is targeted to location. That's why we cannot launch internationally immediately, because focusing on London, we have customers in London, designers in London, the suppliers are in London because we look for the material in London, and the delivery will be at the beginning made by our same designers. Okay, whether they take a bike or they take a tram. So
I mean, you're very focused on sustainability, impact. If I'm coming to your platform, I really would like to be sure that I'm buying something that is actually coming where I would like to come. May I trace? May I trace the supply chain to the beginning on somehow? Do you think would be possible on your platform?
Sorry, Max, can you repeat it?
Would be one day possible on your platform tracing how and the material is supplied from where it's coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, being an MVP, we don't have a lot of features because we want customer designers to get in the platform, using, give us feedback, and then based on the feedback we go improve the platform. But definitely we have in this case, if the designer doesn't deliver, so it doesn't have a tracking code, the thing is we need to keep the interaction between the designer and the customer within that chat. So what happens, we may have the designer that sends a video of the customer, look, I'm on my bike on the way to deliver your thing. That's the thing you kind of need, is like is not just interaction of on an e-commerce page where you click and you have a bot texting. It's human with human, right? And when you said, well, what if I need to go to a tailor, and the tailor needs to touch me? This model has changed with COVID. No one wants to go to the tailor anymore. Tailor change the way they make business. Designers change the way they make business. The idea of the platform is that everything's clear, everything is transparent. Designer love what they do, and they make feel to the customer what they do. Okay, and by keeping right now everything in London, we are minimizing, really, like we don't deliver with courier unless the person is somewhere else in UK, but everything is tracked. We always give the tracking code, whether the customer decides he wants a tracking code or not, because everything is decided within the chat. But the idea is absolutely keeping this connection between customer and designer, something that you don't see anywhere.
I mean, you've been talking about recycling, upcycling, and I really detest waste. I mean, waste is a huge problem, okay? So what about secondhand?
Yeah, that's a great question, Max, because secondhand is something we've been thinking a lot. We've been brainstorming this morning in a meeting, and we're considering what about the charity shops, Oxfam, Cancer Research in UK. They have a lot of clothes that they don't really sell, because people don't really want to buy secondhand clothes. Let's tell us straightforward. No one wants to buy someone worn by someone else, right? Even though you think about fashion, okay, vintage is a big thing in London, underground vintage shop. So what if we repurpose those clothes from the charity shop for free, just to show what we do, right? For free, we take the I will run. This will be like a huge marketing campaign of going to the charity shop, taking the used clothes, repurpose it for them, reput them in the clothes, and see what's the conversion rate, how many people actually buy it. or take them, whether they sell it or not. So that's a good point, because I always think that when we see a fashion, we always need to consider the life cycle of the garment. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a very good background in marketing, and I saw
Yeah.
your target is very wide, from 20 to 60. And how are you going to get these people on board, and how are you going to communicate, as you said before, to such a vast range of different consumers, users, as we want to call?
Absolutely, that's a great idea, Max, and that's probably is the biggest challenge we have, because not having a defined target is not always. People say, you don't have a defined target, you have more people, right? But having more people and being a startup is difficult. There's a lot of dilution of budget as well when you target online. So I come from a marketing background, and I've been running online advertisement. I know how painful sometimes it is. So what we're doing is guerrilla marketing. We're going out there on the 7th October, in 2 days. Basically, we have an event in South Bank. We are gonna put a table, put some cake, some drinks, invite people, let them measure themselves, and we will have a designer on the venue. They will take in the ideas of the customer, put in a design, and tell, you know what, we can have a quote. We can send you a quote of this design, and we can make it real. Okay, in bamboo with this measurement, we will have a measuring tape. Basically, the idea is, as I told you, all the point here to communicate designer to customers. So we put designer on the venue and customer on the venue. We don't really care who stops. It can be a kid, okay? They always dreams of a princess dress they never found, right? Or it can be a couple that decides they want to play on their the kind of outfit they would like to see on their partners. It can be anything. So then it's really exponential on the level of marketing, right? And if you think that right now, if you go out and you say, someone tells you that they love the t-shirt you're wearing, okay, and if your t-shirt is from a fast fashion brand, no one will tell you. Not the majority won't brag about the t-shirt. Will like, so where did you get it? Why? Because everyone can get it. Everyone can get it. It's so easy to get the same things, right? And it's so painful to see people wearing the same thing. But when you get it handmade, crafted, unique for you, you made it, then you're proud, you show.
I mean, in terms of scaling, we've been already covering. Now, you are raising your seed round, okay? And
Yeah, correct.
6 months runaway. Maybe, in my opinion, it should be better if you get 12 months runaway, so you'll be calmer doing your next step. But it's not this my question. My question is, what's your vision for your startup, and what do you really fear can be the big problem you're going to face?
Yeah. So that's an amazing question, and it's a really great question, Max, because I feel like I am the person that believes most about this idea, but I'm the person that's more skeptic about this idea at the same time. And the idea is that I try to keep a balance between what I do and the limitation, but at the same time, you still need to have a positive attitude what you're doing with the passion, right? In order to go through problems. And the vision of Shopperbird is in the future giving an alternative on a choice to people that don't have any. Let's talk about Asia, for example. Okay, let's talk about the biggest supply chain that huge brand in UK and US share. Okay, they have the same supply chain, but they have different design. Those supply chain make different design for different brands, but they're the same people. What happens is that those people don't really have to have minimum wage. They don't really have a gap where they can say, okay, you know what, I quit my job, I run my own business, or I do my own thing, I manage my own time, and I work in a safe environment, and I earn for my family, etc. Right? What happens to those people that really have to move from the country, right? So our idea is that if we bring a product like this in Asia, we allow to talented, because it's a lot of talented designers out there are represented and they don't really have a voice, and for them it's really difficult to start and earn by their own. So what if we bring a product like this? Okay, demand will grow in the future, but obviously the problem of the circle we have right now is that customers require cheaper and cheaper prices, and brands want to keep up with them, so they need to cut somewhere, right? But the thing I tell you, Max, the thing is not the price. The thing is how much we use the clothes, because it's an investment at the end of the day. Upcycling a clothes is an investment.
Of course. I mean, so your vision is a global company one day?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think you scale your business in Asia, outside UK, actually outside London and in Europe?
Well, if you think that let's take Italy, for example. Italy, all the luxury brands in Italy. Who are the people that buy those luxury brands? Italians? No, I don't think. They're majorly Chinese, Korean. So we're talking about this brand is targeting. It wants to target everyone, but right now, in a starting point, we are targeting someone that can afford to buy something like this, because at the end of the day, it's a designer made, right? So we see a bigger market in Asia, obviously, in the future than in Europe, right? The scalability itself is on a social level, okay? On a social level of designers who want to make their own business. They want to work on their own terms, and customers being completely free. I never seen something like this, completely free of doing whatever they want. Okay, you want, I don't know, you want some wings in cork on your jacket, you can make them. Okay, you find a design sooner or later in the platform that can make it, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about matching the right designers with the right person. Okay, and you will be surprised how many requests we had of customers asking us crazy things.
I can imagine. Let me, I will ask you two more. I mean, we can talk forever, but we have a limited time.
Yeah.
You are in between from customers and designers, and you are charging on monthly basis. Why decided to be in between and handle the payments?
Well, the point here is that trust is something that we need to enhance in the next months. And I tell you, you definitely can go to a designer and ask them to make their own unique clothes. But what's the pain of finding the right designer? What's the pain of is this designer really sustainable? Who's gonna do this research for you? The designer at the same time, is this customer really buying my design, or is gonna make me lose time? So these are the main question we ask to customers and designers, and we're building a platform, a solution based on those problems, and MVP will be tackling the main issues, right? So the idea here is just to simplify something that is really painful, and the idea is that we want to make slow fashion fast.
Let me close with, what's your message to investors? What they should invest in your venture, and how do you think they can exit in 5 years?
So, well, to investors, I would say don't invest on us because we are that kind of brand that talks about sustainability. People, when they hear about sustainability, another brand, then brainwash us with green messages. No. Sustainability has always been for us a consequence, but our focus is on demand and expression. Okay, the business model is sustainable. Okay, and it will improve because we're targeting that. The materials we don't put any unsustainable material in the platform, and we won't allow this. Okay, so the message is sometimes when you want to make a change, we just need to make it and not to say that. On the exit, on the let's say 5 years, I hope there won't be an exit, because the investor will be, happy with us and keep investing, because that's something we value. That you take a risk with us in an early stage, and you want to keep staying with us if you're satisfied. And to be honest with you, Max, for us, and I've been talking with a friend of mine, he told me that you as an investor need to pick the investor carefully, because here is all about values. So yeah, we know that we don't have a huge history, so we are new, so we can be anyone just talking and greenwashing, but at the same time we do our research. So yeah, we are the investor we are targeting, an investor that want to invest in a better fashion industry in the future.
Paolo, thank you very much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much.